Yeah.
Go for it, mate.
Oh, I'm yawning. I'm actually yawning. There we go. Excellent. How are you this morning?
I'm well, hey, full of flu or cold,
Yes.
but
And are you going into work today?
no, I'm actually on annual leave, so my annual leave is now spent recovering from said flu cold.
Did you get the flu at work or
No, I got that from lots of lots of relatives with the same problem. So
so how was
yeah,
Christmas for you?
I had a lovely Christmas. I really did. Had some family come over, and yeah, it was really good fun. It's
Do,
nice
do,
seeing
do,
everyone.
do you have a lot of family here in the UK?
Yeah, quite a lot actually. Yeah, about good 60%, which is from a pretty big family. So it's yeah, it's quite a few, but only had two or three come round plus immediate family. So yeah, good 9, 10 of us, which was nice. Had a good time actually. It's nice seeing
Yeah.
everyone. You know.
I mean, for me, we sort of pick and choose our family members. It's like, yes, you come down to my house and ignore the others. Whereas when we were younger, we had to meet
Mm.
and just argue. I think we did a lot of arguing. I mean, for us, it was the Radio Times.
Oh really?
Who gets to watch whatever.
Oh gosh, Radio Times. I haven't
Yeah.
I haven't seen one of those for a while now.
We had two books in our house: Radio Times and Argos Catalogue. Those were the two prized.
Argos Catalogue was a very big childhood hit. Actually, I used to quite enjoy that one. You know.
Yeah, it was amazing, and yeah. Now there's none of. I don't know. It's sort of the kind of the reward kind of thing, delayed reward kind of thing is not here anymore. When
Yeah,
you sort of look forward to booking a holiday, looking for a toy, something like that.
yeah, yeah,
There's great enjoyment in that.
yeah. It's not as it used to be at all.
Yeah.
there used to be that trepidation, of going and even actually going to Argos was an event. You knew you were getting something quite special sometimes.
And
And
you'd go
original.
there and you know they've run out.
Yeah,
It's not in stock, and you think, shit, it's
yeah,
not in
it's
stock,
true.
right? Where's the
It's true.
next Argos
It's true. Whereas now,
branch?
oh, everything's Amazon.
Oh my God, Amazon's taking over. It's like yesterday, I was watching the football on Amazon.
Oh yeah, it
The Boxing
was.
Day
Yeah,
football,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and I thought, shit, these guys are going to take over everything.
yeah, yeah.
And they're in healthcare as well.
Are they? How?
Yeah, they've started in healthcare. They've started sending out a uh, electronic questionnaires to healthcare professionals.
Were you going to be booking
Like,
your GP appointments with Alexa?
yes, yes, special Amazon certified GPs.
Wouldn't surprise me. It actually wouldn't
You
surprise
know,
me if that happens soon.
and then the GPs will have Amazon ratings.
Mm. Yeah.
Uh, it's like this GP is very good, and all the different qualities. And then you've got refurbished GPs as well, and you've got brand new GPs. So if you see the refurbished GPs, they're a lot cheaper, but God knows what they've been through.
You get to
What
see
kind of trauma, and what kind of moral injury that they've experienced.
you get to see them faster if you've got a Prime subscription. Is that right?
Faster, and you can see the younger ones who are much more efficient and
Tech
tech
savvy.
appropriate, artificial intelligent appropriate.
Oh.
Or you can see the old refurbished buggers like me. They got okay reviews, but they could go off at any second. But they do come with a 12-month guarantee.
Yes.
In my case, 12-minute guarantee. You'll get 12 minutes of sanity,
Oh dear.
and then they can flip. So, but it's cheap, mate. It's fucking cheap. The old ones are cheap.
I see.
The young ones want, proper cash now, because that's what doctors are about these days, isn't it? Particularly the young ones.
Cash.
They want
Cash.
their fucking money.
It's because of inflation. We need it.
Well, that's yeah. I mean, I've been working for this guy for like
Mm.
7 years on the same wage,
Oh dear, mate. You need to
and it
renegotiate, I think.
and yeah, and it's like, oh, I just can't be asked. And I'm thinking about inflation. Shit, I've been working for less and less every single year.
You have same. Well, same if it was within the stayed within the NHS. Really, we had a. I
Yeah,
think it
I
was
mean,
a.
don't they get inflation pay rises?
We've had we had our first one for like 5 years or six, if not longer. I can't even remember. That wasn't too long ago. I think it went up by 1%, something like that. I'm not even too sure. It wasn't. It wasn't enough to go. Wow, you know.
Yeah, I mean, apparently the industry inflation standard is about 5%.
Yeah,
So,
no, no, it hasn't gone up by that. Um,
and yeah, it's a bit of a disaster, really. I mean, that's how we value our public sector staff
yeah,
in healthcare,
yeah,
i.e., no, we don't value them,
yeah, yeah.
and there's no point using all that rhetoric that we hear on social media. We money talks and bullshit walks, as they say.
To some extent, that is very, very true, actually. But yeah, I don't know how things are gonna shape out in the next few years. But
I mean, I'm not a downer person, but it'll probably get worse. I think,
I think you're
more
probably
and more.
right.
Yeah,
I
I
think you're
think,
probably right.
uh, I don't know. Maybe Amazon can make a difference.
Jeff Bezos can
Well,
inject
he's
some.
made a difference to all these other industries.
He has.
Look at the electronic industry, look at the toy industry.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually opened up a huge marketplace really because it's allowed people to sell very cheap electronics that they can
Mm,
make, and they can people can make anything and just sell it on Amazon. And it doesn't have to be very good, but it's there. Okay, it won't get good reviews and all the rest, but it does give people the opportunity to to do it. Gives them a space to do it. Um, Much like I, eBay was when eBay first came out was phenomenal. You could
mm,
buy some amazing finds for very cheap, and then eBay started getting massive, and then it became more of just a selling place, for as an actual shop, a replacement for a shop.
mm.
Um, but yeah, Amazon's always had the sort of shop front to it to some extent, and there's nothing you can't buy anymore. The number of packages I get, and it could just be
Yeah,
something
well, I
that.
mean, now there's AliExpress. Do you use
Yes,
AliExpress?
yeah, I know of. I've been on it, but I haven't used it.
Yeah, I mean, I've used it, quite a few times. So if you want something cheaper than eBay,
Yeah, yeah,
but you do have to wait a month
yeah,
for it.
yeah,
Um, and it's okay. It's Chinese products, so if you want a Chinese iPhone,
yeah,
you get it from AliExpress. It'll take you a month to get there, but it's probably about 100, £200 cheaper.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So it's a great alternative, really.
yeah.
And so I mean, if you want to pay premium prices,
Mm,
then go to Amazon. If you want something a bit cheaper, which will take a week longer,
yeah,
then
yeah,
it's eBay.
yeah,
And if you want, price is an issue, go to AliExpress.
yeah. No, it's true.
And then there's another one called DH Gate.
I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, so there's DH Gate, which is another Chinese eBay like software,
Yeah.
but they have lots of fake brands in there. So
Okay.
you can buy a Rolex for 50 quid,
Got you. Yeah.
and yeah, they're pretty good fakes actually.
Yeah. Some of them
Yeah,
are
yeah,
of stuff. Yeah.
pretty good, and because I work close to Harrods, and you sort of look at their products there, and you're paying 1,000 times more than what
Oh, it's
you're paying on DH Gate.
it's
And
London's best museum. Harrods is.
well, I mean, they've got good customer service. I
They
mean,
do.
the workers there are sort of great.
Yeah.
So
They are.
I like going over there and speaking to the workers there. We've got quite a few clients that sort
Mm.
of
go
You
there
know,
quite often.
go there, and
Yeah.
I like being a shopper for them. I'm one of these sort of silent shoppers for certain people.
So you can branch out, Hader, into personal shopping.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've done a bit of that actually,
Have
and
you?
yeah, yeah, and it's quite nice, you know. Um,
Yeah.
and one time I pretended I was a sort of a secret marketing consultant. So I went into this. I won't say the brand, but it's a very upmarket brand.
Yeah.
They said, "Oh, hello, sir," you know, and I was like, "Yes, you know, I shouldn't be telling you this, but you know, I'm assessing your customer experience and your marketing layout."
Okay.
Oh, okay, sir. Right, sir. Right. Just sit, and you know, I got treated so well. You know, I got
Fantastic.
just like fuck it. You know, let's see where we get with this. And I
Oh.
was like, yes, it's very good. Yes, yes. You know, I shouldn't be telling you this, but you know, I will be reporting back to head office.
Oh. I'd
And
love
they're like,
to
thank
a day. Do you know you should do a day in the life of Hader
you.
and
No,
see
that wouldn't be a good idea.
see what happens.
Yeah, no, my responsible officer won't be happy.
Oh yeah, you're a responsible officer.
And then
Yeah.
and then I did something similar when I was in Singapore. I thought, do you know what? I want the full treatment in, you know, one of these well-known companies.
Mm,
Um, and it was great. I was saying, fucking no, you guys are really good. Um, I always love Louis Vuitton. I mean, they really know how to treat a customer.
sure.
Fucking hell, you know, these guys sort of, yeah. I don't like their products, but I love their customer experience.
Yeah.
You know, the way that they bring you in, entice you in, the layout, the colors. You see, it comes back to you know hypnosis again. You know, these are all hypnotic principles.
Bit
And
like Apple.
yeah, Apple. You know, these people they know how to create that customer experience. And I think
Yeah.
if Amazon hit it right in terms of healthcare, which you know they will do because they have the you know the marketing basis and the psychology of marketing basis sort of hit it on the nail.
Yeah.
um
Do you know? I hope for the sake of the NHS though, it doesn't go that way to some
well,
extent.
you know, I mean, it's a
Because
different facet of healthcare, you see, and you need that, you know, the sort of premium servitude, high class kind of
sure.
service which is required, and then you need the sort of essential nuts and bolts kind of service which you know the
Mm,
NHS are good at.
yeah.
But once you start putting add-ons to the NHS, I think that's when it starts sort of breaking up
Yeah. I
because
think
there's just too much strain on the system.
I think if you start going down the route of privatizing some aspects of it, it won't. It will just be a matter of time before the whole thing becomes privatized. And um, I think healthcare to some extent is a nice. It's a basic human right to be
Yeah,
able to be treated. And to be able to live a healthy life. And yeah, there's an element of self responsibility with that. But I think it's one of the greatest things that we've managed to achieve within the healthcare field is a unified health system, which is still very fragmented in many areas. So any hospital that I go to a different trust, and automatically I've been given an envelope with a raft of new username passwords for a raft of new systems. So one hospital system won't interact with another, which can make life very very difficult and very frustrating. And they were trying to streamline that. Quite a few years ago. Were you ever issued with a smart card?
yeah, I was. Yeah,
So, people who are listening and don't know what that is, it's essentially a library card type thing with a little chip on it. And the idea was that this smart card was meant to streamline your experience. So wherever you went in the around the country, instead of having to keep uploading your CVs and your where you've worked and do all the admin stuff, which takes absolutely ages. It's one of the most frustrating things about moving to a different hospital. Even if you're just rotating as part of your program, you'd have to do all the paperwork, and it was very, very time consuming and a lot of going back and forth. And the idea was it was be put on this card, and you just went, put your card in, put your pin in, and they'd get all your things. So your degree would be uploaded onto it, your CV, all of that. And they started doing that, but the problem was they didn't realize how expensive this system was going to be, and it just didn't work. So we end up with this glorified credit card essentially, and it was, I think I used it once for 1 year to access one system that only that required it, and then they abolished that as well, and it just became a username password again. So it was, yeah, it's extremely frustrating. And I think that's actually there's so much cost involved in just the admin side of things, you know. It's a real shame. A lot could be done if people actually came together and communicated and actually explained a system that would work, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy given that, we need to be involved in the actual discussion as
Yeah, they don't involve
physicians.
us. They don't involve us at all.
So, and
Mm,
do we have the time to sort of sit down and discuss these things with them? But it's
yeah,
essential.
yeah,
And I guess, at some stage in that discussion, the healthcare, the physician leaders decided not to have that discussion or be involved in
no.
it.
I think they're worried that we're going to
Um,
cost them more money with our suggestions, but I'll tell you what, it'd
but
be
it doesn't work, does it? It
no, it'd
just
be
doesn't work.
be a bloody more efficient service if they actually included people that use the service and provide that service
Yeah.
as part of their discussion, you know. So
Well, people don't like to be questioned, you see, because they've got this system and they've invested so much money into it. They don't
it's
want to be
true.
questioned about it, and
Yeah, there's that
just
as well.
told, okay, I've spent £100 million on it,
Mm,
and thousands of people have worked on it, and then the physicians come along and say, well, it's pointless. It
yeah,
doesn't actually work.
yeah, yeah.
Particularly when there's politicians involved, have a vetted interest in it.
I think they're worried that they won't be needed because, as far as I can see, there's a lot of posts out there that are just there to give people a job.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, there was this discussion once on Twitter,
Yeah,
and I just said, well, we need so much less administrators,
yeah, absolutely.
and I got a barrage of hateful tweets saying, how dare you say,
Uh,
my job is not needed,
yeah,
and it just went on and on and on and on. And I say, look, with all due respect,
yeah,
we got patients to see, and we can save so much money
yeah,
by getting rid of you.
yeah. It's true. Pay for another
And
three doctors
it
with
didn't
that salary.
work. I said, wait,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
there are certain things we need because of the admin system, thanks to you guys, i.e.,
yeah,
physician associates and all these other assistants, and that's
yeah,
because of you guys.
yeah,
So if you
yeah.
can just sort of disappear, and we can have more doctors and nurses, thank you very much.
Oh, mate,
You know,
they'd
go and find
replace
another profession, mate.
they'd replace the admin with something else. Believe me, I'm sure.
Well, let's. I mean, look, they want to replace us with Amazon and robots and what have you. So,
Was the whole was, that's how
we
one
we
one
got to
one
push
started.
back.
You know, yeah, it's the 111 system, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the start. That was, I think, the start of it. And people realised that didn't. It's there. It's got its uses for sure, but I don't think it achieved what it's
Yeah,
just
it's interesting
anecdotal.
because, like, people use it and they call one when they think, do you know what? I still want to go and see the
Yeah, they do.
GP.
They do. And a lot of the time, a lot of the advice is go, you know, go to, unless it's very clear cut. But yeah, it's very difficult to trust a voice at the other end of a
Yeah.
telephone when you can't see them. Um, and that's actually why podcasting is so nice, because you build this trust over some time.
Yeah.
Whereas you're with 111, you're expected to get that trust straight away, and yeah, sometimes it's good, but doesn't
So
always.
maybe there's like a market for sort of podcast one night stands kind of stuff. Where you can have one night stand over the internet and then plug yourself into some, tactile stimulating devices.
I'm sure that exists somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. Just sort of plug and play.
Oh dear.
But you need to have that sort of human
Mm,
initial. Yep, you're my type.
yeah.
Fine. Let's plug it in, make it work.
How's the feedback been from our last one?
What last one?
We did one a little while ago.
What on your
Yeah, on mine.
I don't know. You should. I don't know what the
Oh, you don't
feedback
get
was.
any? Do you not get any feedback?
No,
No. Ah, fair enough. I've had some quite entertaining feedback. It's good.
good or bad? It's
Good.
like
Good.
really.
Yeah.
What were the sort of? What were they saying?
I think they seem to enjoy our conversations going on the
Well, I
back of
mean,
the
that's
last
what it's
one.
about. I mean, it is
Yeah.
about having some entertainment and some fun with some possible relevance
Yeah. No, it was good.
and sort of solutions.
It was always fun
Um,
chatting. You know.
yeah, it is. Particularly to an interesting person. But when there's someone's not interesting, it's like, oh, fuck's sake.
Yeah. You
You
had
know, let's end this, please.
without naming anyone. If you had any guests,
Annoying guests.
yeah. Well, you've had to publish it, of
Well,
course.
I've had quite a few actually. I've had quite a few, and what I do is I don't publish them.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay, I
yeah.
didn't know that.
So unfortunately, the ones who are listening now and haven't been published will be getting back to me saying, "Why haven't you published mine?" So I
Oh,
do get regular emails and sort of messages from previous guests I haven't published,
I see.
and yeah, we're not friends anymore.
Oh, okay. So
You
I don't
publish everything,
I
do
do,
you?
yeah.
Yeah.
I do publish it. I've maybe that's a mistake actually on my behalf, but I've to be fair, I haven't had one where I thought, oh, do you know, this is really really bad. I've had a
But
cute
it's quite interesting. I mean, for me, I think it's bad,
mm,
and then when I publish it, others say actually it was very good. So it's quite interesting, and I think it's because
yeah.
the speaker didn't resonate with me, but it resonated with other people.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's happened actually. That has happened where I thought, oh my god, I published it, and I thought no one's going to listen to this, and actually, it was a big success,
give us an
and
example.
so I did
Which
one.
guest? Let's gas them up a bit.
So I did one with about gout, and I spoke to a really lovely chap, and he was actually a very interesting guest to talk to. But the reason why I thought no one was going to listen to it was because it dawned on me as I was editing it. I thought there's actually like proper whole entire podcast on gout, and where the entire the entire series is dedicated to this. So I thought that's saturated. No one's going to then go on to a one-off episode on it, and I was wrong, really wrong. Yeah, he was a good guest as well, so that actually did make a difference. But and also I did one on acne. I was talking about my experience. It was a personal one, so my
Mm.
personal experience with acne, and also with use of Roaccutane, because when I was a med student, they put me on it, and spoke about it was awful effects that I suffered from. So I stopped it after a couple of weeks, a few weeks, and I thought again, no one's going to listen to that. And that was actually one of my most downloaded podcasts. It was quite incredible. I even
I'm
had
quite
emails
interested
about that
about
one.
Roaccutane because I do prescribe it.
So it's not just me. This is I spoke based on anecdotal, evidence, but also there have been papers on it. What I found was, does it work? Yes, it does work, and I think you'd be very, you know, very hard pushed to say it doesn't. But I found that the side effects were huge, huge, and I describe it. So there was one instance when I was doing a practical exam. I was in my third year, I think, med student life, and I just wanted to crawl into a little ball and do nothing. I couldn't actually concentrate or focus on the exam at all, like at all. And it was like a cloud lifted over me when I should, just blasted over when I stopped taking it, and I was able to go function back to normal. I lost a lot of weight as well, and I'm not a huge person to begin with, but so it was quite apparent. And yeah, it's something I would never ever take ever again.
Do you know any other people who use it and
I do.
really really works for them?
I do. I've had two or three friends who I found out afterwards later on that they were on it, and I said, "How did you find the side effects?" And they said, "Fine. I didn't
Yeah.
have any other than dry lips. Everyone has dry lips. I haven't met anyone who hasn't." And but yeah, but I've also I actually got emailed by a chap after I published the episode, who's from Switzerland, and he emailed me saying, "I've just listened to your podcast, and I just want to say I'm having the exact same effects that you're describing. I'm going to be looking for another treatment option. Thank you for the advice, as it were." Um,
I mean, is it worth them also having psychological therapy as well while they're on these treatments, so that they can deal with their eczema and autoimmune conditions?
so what I found is, um, I found that the treatment made me very depressed,
Mm.
and there have been a number of case reports of suicide with it, and the the conflict of interest lies to some extent with, okay, are these people depressed because of the acne, and that it's being precipitated by a number of other things, or is it because of the drug? I think, from my personal experience, I would say it's the drug, um, because I just remember being feeling very isolated, and just wanting to be isolated at the time when I was on it. And don't forget, it was originally created as a form of chemotherapy for melanoma, and we're using it as an acne treatment because that was one of the side effects, was that it cleared up your acne, and it's a very last resort. Um, would I prescribe it based on my experience? No, uh, but at the same time, I do know people who haven't had much experience and will sing its praises, and they're prepared to put up with the dry lips and the other side effects that are associated with it. Um, but the other thing is, some of these side effects can be very long lasting and lifelong. It took, I think it was about, even though I was only on it for a few weeks, it took about 5 years for my lips to actually stop needing to use lip balm and things like that, to actually get back to their normal self. And um, so I just found that very, yeah, it's quite surprising, and it's a difficult one. It is a difficult one.
Mm.
I do urge people.
It's a very popular drug. I mean, it's a very popular drug. You know,
It
there's a lot of
is.
people out there who are on it so long term and they can't come off it.
Yeah, I mean, you
And
can only take it for, I think, if I remember correctly, it's about 12 weeks for a course, I think. I think it starts off with half dose for 4 weeks and then it doubles, but I can't remember. A dermatologist will be able to correct me, but
yeah,
um,
I mean, as long as
yeah.
their blood work are okay, they can stay on it.
Yeah, and also,
Yeah.
when I was on it, I had to have very regular liver function tests,
Mm.
blood tests, and it did actually impact my liver. I was actually developing a form of hepatic inflammation, with
Mm.
it, and my
Mm.
my liver function tests were going off, still within limits, but they were going off, and the other thing is it's teratogenic as well, so.
Mm.
Uh, what I mean by that is it affects unborn fetuses.
Mm.
So women must take a pregnancy test before, and even men wanting to have a child, um,
Mm.
they shouldn't whilst they're on it. And um, yeah, there's a lot of things involved with it. So it is a very last resort, and I think there needs to be a little bit more control with it. And there was a lot of calls in America to have it banned, and I don't know because I haven't followed it up, but I don't know if they've actually banned it now in
Mm.
America.
Mm.
Um, Here in the UK, it has to be prescribed by a consultant dermatologist
Mm.
only, and outside in within the NHS, that is. Um, so yeah, it's a very expensive drug as well to buy. Very
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah. It
But
is. Yeah.
and on the NHS, it's just the cost of the normal prescription, which is £8 something or other now. Um, but yeah, it shouldn't be taken lightly, and I would urge anyone who's thinking about it, speak to your dermatologist and have a good think about it, because it can affect you quite devastatingly, you know. Um,
Yeah. I mean, the point that I was making, I think involving sort of psychological education and therapies in all therapies
yes,
is essential, you
yeah,
know, and, just to encapsulate that holistic approach
yeah.
to therapy,
I think
sit down and, talk about the psychological aspects of acne and of eczema and so all these other autoimmune conditions because,
yeah,
it is involved stress and well-being and not being on top form and not smiling much and that kind of stuff and just being a miserable sod all the time, which I am. Um, uh,
no, you're not that
I mean, it
miserable,
is
mate.
worth doing some sort of serious training for all
Yeah, and
doctors about this aspect.
I think that would actually be a good example of one where it's important as well, is just to have the, because when you're on something like that, it goes on. They don't just give you the full, you know 12, 16 week course and go, yeah, get on with it. You get prescribed a couple of weeks or 3 weeks, and then you get seen, and then you get the next number prescribed. So it gives them a chance to see how you're getting on. But in a in a hospital setting, you get the, and if you want it because you think, my acne is this bad, you're gonna lie, and you're gonna be like, yeah, I'm fine. You're not gonna talk about all the bad things that you're going through because you think it's working. I want to keep taking it, and so I think going beyond the question of how you finding it, you're getting on all right, good, yep, okay. Here's your bloods are fine. Here's your next 3 weeks. I think it needs to go beyond that, and I think what you're saying is correct in that we should actually have a bit more an in-depth thing, especially something we believe and to some extent know affects our way of thinking.
Mm.
It's like, okay, what time are you getting up in the morning? are you struggling to sleep? Have you had any bad dreams? How is your work going? Because I wasn't working at the time, I was studying, and I was largely on I think it was summer vacation at the time, so it didn't affect me too much. But at the same time, if I was at work, I I don't know. I think I would have struggled to have answered that with a straight face and say everything was fine. So I think more needs to be done for medicines like that.
Yeah,
So
I mean, yeah, I'm just thinking about, my glaucoma clinics where we've got
mm,
these people on medication for the rest of their lives,
yeah,
and I think having some psychological input and some regular CBT
yeah,
or psychological therapy, just to sort of make sure that they're in the right mindset and they're in a good psychological space,
yeah,
so that we understand what's going on, because it just affects their therapeutic um uh you know efficacy,
mm,
doesn't it?
yeah,
I mean, if they're in the right space, the drug pretty much works even better, because that sort of placebo kicks in as well as the active ingredient.
yeah. I mean, I think
um
they do it for younger younger people, say with diabetes, and
mm.
they do a lot of
But we
some
olders need, old buggers
yeah,
need it as well, mate.
yeah,
It's like, it's not as if we got our minds sussed.
yeah. It's true.
We need just as much support as the young
I
ones.
mean, the number of patients I get when um, because I'm very interested in the drugs people are taking, because I need to know if they're going to interact with anything I'm going to do. And number of people that say, "Oh, I'm prescribed this and this and this and this." It's like, you taking them, okay? And it's like, no, no, don't take that. And it's more the older generation that give me that response, and they have this mindset of, I've been well all my life, I've hit 60 or whatever it may be, and now I'm on 20 different medications, and there's a really strong element of denial with
Mm,
it.
mm.
And I think there should be a bit of psychological training to say, it's okay to need help.
Yeah, yeah,
You'll regret it more if something was to happen as a consequence of not taking something. To develop a clot as a result of not taking your aspirin, as it were, or whatever it may be,
yeah,
and
yeah.
and then you'll feel worse. And um, it's very difficult. It's very
I mean,
difficult.
this is where maybe Amazon might come in and sort of work with the NHS and bring along psychological, technological support for
Yeah.
this sort of ancillary supportive role.
Well, there's apps now where you can pay for a FaceTime call, essentially,
Right.
with a GP. I don't know how much it costs, and I don't know if it's any
It's
good
it's
or
not much. I think it's around 25 quid.
is it okay?
Yeah,
Uh,
something that's I mean, that would help, but I think sort of more long term, particularly now that we're going to have a lot more people on long term therapy
yeah,
with chronic conditions.
yeah. I
So,
think
I mean, the responsibility is on both sides, both the
yes,
patient and
it is.
the healthcare provider.
Yeah,
But it comes back to education, isn't it?
yeah,
That's what it's about.
uh,
And, the more we have an educated uh, population,
mm,
the better the health. Because, I mean, I don't remember talking about these things when I was being, trained as a medical student or a junior doctor, talking about all these issues. You
no,
may find them in certain textbooks, locked away in, old
mm,
libraries and so on. But I think, now that the information is out there, it needs to be much more accessible and, friendly, user
yeah,
friendly, as they say, a bit more
yeah,
user friendly. But the technology is out there, and I think it just needs a bit of entrepreneurial wizardry to
mm,
make it cheap and cheerful for the general population.
yeah.
A bit like this podcast microphone. Technology is there, and someone sort of brought it together and made it accessible for Joe blogs like me.
sounds very good on my side at least. So,
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
um, I guess there's also things like the reason things have changed. I mean, even in I've only been practicing for less than 10 years, but even in that 10 years, I've seen a shift in the demographic of patients. The you know trying to seeing a patient of a normal weight now is becoming increasingly rare, and the majority are overweight or obese, and with that comes a raft of other problems, and so we're now having to try and control those problems, and
Mm,
it's almost like in some respects the responsibility is taken away from the patients, sort of absolving themselves of some responsibility. It's like, I need my operation, I'm having my operation, and they don't think about the implications of, yeah, if you haven't lost the stone that we asked you to lose since the pre-assessment clinic, you're not only putting your life at risk, it's actually quite a considerable amount, and just that one stone could be a big difference.
and society doesn't help because they're saying
No.
there's nothing wrong with you,
Oh,
and you
that
shouldn't be
that's
listening to these people.
that's a very big
Uh,
bugbear of mine,
uh,
actually.
and and plus, you can't blame them because they hear so many conflicting theories and ideas about how to lose weight. Some people say eat fat, other people say don't eat fat. Some people say butter is good for you, other people say, and these are supposedly experts in nutrition
I
and
mean,
wellness, and it's really confusing for the average person to sort of know what's going to make them lose weight. Some people say calories is important, other people say calories is not important,
yeah,
and veganism and vegetarianism
yeah,
and carnivore diets,
of
and
course.
so it
It's
it's a
very
big
confusing.
problem.
It's very
Yeah.
confusing. There's so many different diets out there, and I've done an episode on plant-based diets and spoken about the benefits of it. I'm not a vegetarian or a vegan. I just try and eat relatively sensibly. Um,
You don't eat, mate. I mean,
of
look at
course I
you.
eat.
There's nothing there, mate.
You know I eat. But it fundamentally, all the talk of different diets, and yeah,
I
there's
touched a nerve there, mate.
yeah. Do you know the number of especially with my heritage, going seeing family, all you ever get is you don't eat. It's like, I do. I just move around a lot. That's it's
You see, I'm all right. I'm a plump guy, so no one talks to me about um, But
believe me.
I was plumper before, and
Mm,
when I was plumper before, I was a better doctor. People came to me thinking, "Wow, you're a great doctor because you're plump." So that's the culture that we have in our society
sure.
in Iraq.
Yeah.
The plumper you are, the more the
Yeah.
better doctor you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. You're established, and
So yeah, I mean it's confusing, and I think
it is confusing, but do you know, fundamentally, we can't get the people that I've heard a lot of patients use that as an excuse of, oh, I just don't get the time to go to the gym. I don't get the time to. It's like, I appreciate that, but for you to sustain the weight of 25, 30 stone, which is what I've seen, you are consuming thousands and thousands and thousands of calories a day. Even just not going to the gym and eating normal meals, you will lose a lot
and
of
this was
weight.
sorry that this is where psychological therapy comes
Yeah,
in.
absolutely.
They do need
Yeah,
CBT
yeah.
and psychotherapy to sort of get down to the reasons why they
Yeah.
overeat and
There's
under exercise, and
there's
people
a
don't like
reason.
to hear those two sentences.
There's a
Don't
reason.
overeat and do more exercise, and I think
Yeah.
no, that's not how. It's like, well, I'm
Yeah.
afraid there's not much more to that really.
Yeah, it's like, no, no, no. No, you fix me. You do it. And it's like, it doesn't work like that. There's an element of responsibility for it. And it's funny how I noticed this actually with uh I shadowed some cosmetics plastic surgery many years ago, And what I found was they were the most obedient patients and the most grateful patients. Didn't matter what pain they were in, didn't matter what you asked them to do, um, but they wanted the surgery, and they would do whatever, and they were, they woke up in, pain, and purely cosmetic, nothing, nothing pathological, and they would be, I'm so grateful, thank you so much, and I was thinking, wow, I almost want to go into this specialty just purely for the patient gratification. It was lovely. And then when you go into the more traditional hospital-based medicines, and you don't get the thank you. You just you get the I'm in pain. I'm in this, and yeah, of course you get grateful patients. Don't get me wrong, but the ratio, it's not there, and it's not the same, and it's always intriguing how there's an element of, you know uh, if
Well,
you
they've pre-selected their patients, you see, and
it's true,
that's the key issue there, is that
it's
they've
very true.
counseled them, pre-selected them,
Mm,
gave them ultimatums,
yeah,
and gave them hoops to jump through and hurdles to jump over.
yeah,
And once they've done all of those things, you know that they're as serious as fuck
yeah,
and they
yeah,
want to get shit done.
yeah.
So, and in the NHS, we can't do that to people. But once we
No,
do that to people and say, look, you've got to jump through 10 hoops, and at the end of the
yeah,
day, you'll get your operation,
yeah,
then you'll get the best results. And
yeah.
it's not politically correct, and it's not a nice thing to say, and it's not what
Mm,
the
no,
general society want to hear about the NHS, because it's a free for all.
no.
But that's why we have all these people,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
who are causing havoc within
y-
a system that's overloaded and underfunded, and it's basically leaking everywhere.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I think you're right. I think the only time I see that in an NHS setting, where it's really quite strict, is organ transplant lists, where,
mm,
if you need a liver, for example, and you're an alcoholic and you don't stop drinking, you won't get a liver.
yeah,
And so I think that's one of the few times that you do see that. But yeah, in all other aspects,
yeah. I mean, if you don't lose 2 stone for your anesthetic, anesthetic for the operation, you don't get the operation. End of.
yeah,
And
but then it
well,
becomes, it's where you draw the line, you see, and that's
who
where,
should judge these policies?
see,
Like, where do
that's
you
that's
draw?
the thing. It's hard. I don't
That's
know.
where communication and collaboration comes
Yeah,
in
yeah,
between administrators,
yeah,
executive decision makers, physicians, and
yeah,
politicians,
uh,
and financial executives,
yeah,
and that can be done on a local level,
yeah,
which is what it should really be like, local
yeah,
level. And then there is an umbrella of standards for the whole nation,
yeah.
but otherwise,
Mm,
because we've got limited resources at the end of the day, and staff limited. It's all limited. We can't open the door for everything to come in.
yeah, it's true, and it's a very hard one. I don't know what the right answer is, and I know it's been talked about before, by many people, in terms of, should we treat uh, people that don't stop smoking, for example, people that don't stop drinking, or people that abuse their lifestyle, and then you get the grey area whereby you can say, okay, but this person, you're treating this person who's, you know, done some rock climbing, for example. How is that not self-inflicted? It's like, and then you're in the yes, but that's different. Why is it different? And these are all the different arguments or different points of view that become very complicated very, very quickly. So the easiest and fairest thing is we treat everyone regardless. So there's no prejudice, there's no discrimination, there's no anything. Um, and it's good. At the same time, it does cause a lot of strain on the system. But it's where is that line is the difficult aspect of it. So like I say, I don't know what the correct answer is. I'm sure one day someone much more intelligent than I am can work that out. But yeah,
I mean, you know, these are essentially ethical issues,
yes,
and you know, we need to discuss these ethical issues and have policies in place to solve them. Really,
yeah, yeah,
you know, yeah.
mm,
So, New Year's coming up,
it
and
is.
we thought we'd wrap up this first live on YouTube. I hope it works.
I hope so too. We've had we've
I
had
hope it
some
works.
interesting
Uh,
experiences with this, but it's
yeah, yeah.
I think
But I mean,
third
you know,
time
I mean,
lucky.
yeah, third time lucky, and I'm happy that we've started this. You know, we had
Yeah,
this idea, and it's sort of happening uh, for real.
yeah.
Probably no one's watching this.
Doesn't
No
matter.
one's going to sort of listen to two people rant for sort of nearly an hour.
It's okay.
You never know. You never know.
You never know, but also it's fun. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's you know, it's great to get these ideas out there. Um, so a new decade next week, and that's going to be interesting. And the main thing is we can talk about it.
absolutely, and yeah, look forward to the new year, and we can do more projects like this, all being well, and yeah, lots more podcast guests coming up.
There you go, mate.
So
All right, mate. I'll
thank you
speak
so
to you
much.
soon, and thank you to everyone who have actually kept listening to us. And
Yeah,
I think that's really, really awesome. Leave your good and bad comments down below. Let us know what you want us to talk about next. And it's bye from me, the
uh,
Third Eye Doctor.
and bye from me, Dr. Polyvios.